Hi. I know it's been like 8 months. I'm so sorry. But I found. I think we better pick up where we left off, huh? Like nothing ever happened. Let's see. Where were we? A vision. There in the midst of a field, on the banks of a limpid stream, I saw a cage whose bars were wrought by a cunning hand. In one corner of the cage was a dead bird, and in another corner was a vessel wherein the water was dried up, and a plate empty of seeds. I stood, overcome by the silence, and listened humbly, as though in the dead bird and the voice of the stream were a sermon, seeking out the heart and asking of the conscience. I pondered and considered, and then I knew that the poor bird had died of thirst by the sight of running water, and perished of hunger in the midst of fields, the very cradle of life. Like a rich man locked in his treasury who dies of hunger in the midst of his gold. And after a while I saw that the cage was become the dry skeleton of a man, and the dead bird was turned into a human heart, and in the heart a deep wound from which dripped blood. The edges of the wound were like to the lips of a grieving woman. Then I heard a voice arising from the wound, saying, I am the human heart, the captive of matter, and the slain of men's edicts. In the midst of this field of beauty, on these banks of the source of life, I am captive in this cage of laws fashioned by men for the feeling. In the cradle of creation's beauties, between the hands of love, I died neglected, for the bounty of those beauties and the fruits of this love were forbidden to me. All that did awaken my desire was in man's conception shameful, and that for which I yearned did he judge a thing of scorn. I am the human heart, which is imprisoned in the darkness of the multitude's edicts, and fettered by illusion until I am arrived at death's point. I am forsaken, and abandoned in the corners of civilization and its seduction. The tongue of mankind is bound, and its eyes are dry the while they smile. These words did I hear, and behold, as they came out with the very drops of blood from that wounded heart. Thereafter I saw no thing more, neither did I hear a voice, for I had returned to my reality. Letters of Fire. Here lies one whose name was writ in water. John Keats. Is it that the nights pass by us, and destiny treads us underfoot? Is it thus the ages engulf us and remember us not, save as a name upon a page written water in place of ink? Is this life to be extinguished, and this love to vanish, and these hopes to fade? Shall death destroy that which we build, and the winds scatter our words, and darkness hide our deeds? Is this then life? A past that has gone and left no trace, a present pursuing the past? Or a future without meaning, save when it is present and past? Shall all that is joy in our hearts, and all that saddens our spirits, vanish ere we know their fruits? Shall man be even as the foam that sits an instant on the ocean's face, and is taken by the passing breeze, and is no more? No, in truth, for the verity of life is life, life whose birth is not in the womb, nor its end in death. What are these years if not an instant in eternity? This earthly life and all therein is but a dream by the side of the awakening we call by death and terror. A dream, yet all we see and do therein endures with God's enduring. The air bears every smile and every sigh, arising from our hearts, and stores away the voice of every kiss, whose source and spring is love. And angels make account of every tear dropped by sadness from our eyes, and fill the ears of wandering spirits with song created by our hidden joys. Yonder in the hereafter we shall see the beating of our hearts, and comprehend the meaning of our godlike state, that in this day we hold as naught, because despair is ever at our heels. The erring that today we call a weakness shall appear on the morrow, a link in man's existence. The fret and toil that requite us not shall abide with us to tell our glory. The afflictions that we bear shall be to us a crown of honor. If that sweet singer Keats had known that his songs would never cease to plant the love of beauty in men's hearts, surely he had said, "Write upon my gravestone, here lie the remains of him who wrote his name in heaven's face in letters of fire." Inspired. Amidst the ruins. The moon drew a fine veil across the city of the sun, and stillness enveloped all creation, and the awesome ruins rose like giants mocking at nocturnal things. In that hour 2 forms without substance appeared out of the void like mist ascending from the surface of the lake. They sat them on a marble column, which time had wrenched from that wondrous edifice, and looked down upon a scene that spoke of enchanted places. After a while, one of them lifted up his head, and in a voice likened to the echo thrown back by distant valleys said, "These are the remains of those shrines that I builded for you, my beloved, and there the ruins of a palace I raised for your pleasure. Now they are level with the earth, and naught remains save a trace to tell to the nations of the glory for whose renown I expended my life, and the might for whose aggrandizement I did put to work the weak. Look well and ponder, beloved, for the elements have vanquished the city I builded, and the ages have made us not the wisdom I knew, and forgetfulness has overtaken the kingdom I founded. No thing remains save the particles of love, created by your beauty, and the beauty your love brought to life. I builded a temple in Jerusalem to worship therein. The priests sanctified it, and the days brought it to dust. Then I builded to love a temple within me, and God sanctified it, and no thing shall prevail against it. I passed my days seeking to know things of matter and substance, and men said, 'How wise is he in things of the world?' And the angels said, 'How little of wisdom is he?' Then did I behold you, beloved, and sang the song of love and yearning, and the angels rejoiced thereat, but as for men, they did not heed. The days of my splendor were as fences between my thirsting soul and the spirit that is in all creatures. And with my beholding you, love did awake and destroy the fences, and I grieved over the days passed in submission to waves of despair, deeming all things under the sun a vanity. I put on my armor and took up my shield, and the tribes feared me. And when love lighted me, I was humbled even before my kind. And when death came, it put away that coat of mail and the earth, and bore my love to God." After a silence, the other form spoke and said, "As the flower takes its fragrance and life from the soil, so in like measure does the Spirit distill from the frailty of matter and its erring wisdom and strength." Then the 2 forms were joined one with the other, and became one, and departed. After a while the air spoke these words into those places: "The infinite keeps naught save love, for it is in its own likeness." One more. This one is also titled A Vision, and there's a bit of art. I like that. A Vision. To the Viscountess S.L. in answer to a letter she wrote me. Youth walked before me, and I followed in his steps until we came to a distant field. There he stopped and stood, looking at the clouds drifting across the evening sky like a flock of white lambs. He looked at the trees whose naked branches pointed heavenward, as if they would ask of heaven the return of their verdant leaves. And I said, "Where are we, youth?" He replied, "We are in the fields of perplexity. Take heed. Let us then return, for the desolation of this place makes me afraid, and the sight of the clouds and the naked trees saddens my spirit." And he said, "Wait a while, for perplexity is the beginning of knowledge." Then I looked and beheld a nymph drawing nigh to us like a vision, and in my astonishment I cried, "Who is this?" "'Tis Melpomene, daughter of Jupiter and goddess of tragedy," answered he. "And what wants tragedy of me whilst you are yet by my side, happy youth?" And he answered me and said, "She has come to show you the world and its sorrows, for who has not seen sorrow cannot see joy." Then the nymph put her hand over my eyes, and when she lifted it, my youth was gone, and I was naked of the garments of matter. And I said, "Where is youth, daughter of the gods?" She answered me not, but embraced me with her wings, and took me in flight to the summit of a high mountain. And I saw the earth and all in it spread out before me like a page, and the secrets of its habitants appeared before my eyes like writings. And so did I stand in awe by the side of the nymph, gazing on man's mysteries and striving to know life's symbols. I saw, yea, I saw, yet would that I had been sightless. I saw angels of happiness contending with devils of misfortune. Between them, man, and in his perplexity was he drawn now to hope, now to despair. I beheld love and hate playing with the human heart. This one concealed his guilt and made him drunk of the wine of submission, and loosed his tongue in eulogy and praise. That one excited his passions and blinded him to truth, and closed his ears against right speech. I beheld the city squatting like a daughter of the streets, holding to the hem of man's garment, and the beautiful wild parts I saw standing from afar and weeping for his sake. I beheld priests, sly like foxes, and false messiahs dealing in trickery with the people, and men crying out, calling upon wisdom for deliverance, and wisdom spurning them with anger because they heeded not when she called them in the streets before the multitude. I saw heads of religion vying one with another in raising their eyes heavenward, the while their hearts were interred in the graves of lust. I saw young men showing love on their tongues, and drawing near to the hopes of their boldness, their divineness a distant thing, and their affections a slumber. I saw also lawmakers trading their garbled speech in the market of shame and deceit, and physicians making sport with the trusting souls of the simple. The ignorant sitting with the wise also did I see, raising his past upon a throne of glory, and cushioning his present at ease upon a carpet of spaciousness, and spreading for his future a bed of honor. I saw the wretched poor sowing, and the powerful rich harvesting and eating, and oppression standing there, and the people calling it law. Thieves and robbers and darkness I beheld, stealing the treasures of the mind, and the custodians of light drowned in the sloth of sleep. A woman I saw like a lute in the hands of one who cannot play upon it and is displeased with its sound. Whoa. I beheld those armies investing the city of privilege, the armies in retreat because they were few in number and not united, and true freedom walking alone in the streets, seeking shelter before doors and rejected by the people. Then I saw selffulness walking in a mighty procession, and the multitude hailed it as freedom. I saw religion buried within books, and in its stead illusion. I saw men wearing patience as a cloak for cowardice and calling forbearance by the name of sloth, and gentleness they dubbed as fear. I saw the intruder at the banquet making claim while the guest remained silent, and wealth in the hands of a squanderer as a snare of evil doing, and in the hands of the miser as hatred of his fellows. In the hands of the sage I saw not any riches. When I beheld all these things, I cried out in agony, "Is this then the earth, daughter of the gods? Is this indeed man?" And she answered in a still wounding voice, "This is the path of this spirit, paved with stones and thorns. This is man's shadow. This is the night, but morning will come." Thereupon she put her hands on my eyes, and when they were lifted, I beheld myself and my youth walking slowly, and hope ran before me. Wow. I know it's not really what you came here for, but this little section. A woman I saw like a lute in the hands of one who cannot play upon it and is displeased with its sound. Kahlil. Kahlil had something to say. All right. I think that's enough for right now. We'll continue this next time. Thank you for listening. Bye. A woman I saw like a lute in the hands of one who cannot play upon it and is displeased with its sound. Whoa.